Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. I'm Amy, and I'm a mum of 3. I have Ashley, who's 21, and I have twin girls who are 13. I've ummed and ahed about doing this video for a while because I didn't want it to seem... I try and keep my channel upbeat and happy and motivating and inspiring. I try anyway. And I didn't know if this would be seen as something quite negative. So I ummed and ahed for ages, but then I thought, you know what? It's not negative. It is positive. I've got through this and I've come out the other side. And if I can help just one person, if I can just help one person to do the same by watching this, and so they can watch this and it encourages them, then that's job done. It also, I wanted to create awareness. I think people think that cancer happens to older people, which it does, but it is happening more and more to younger people. I was in my 30s, and as I say, a lot of people think that's young. Well, yeah, it was, but it's happening more and more, and I was seeing more and more people in the hospital who were my age. So I just wanted to do this video. I have had lots of people message me at various times, you know, when someone they know has been diagnosed and they wanted my advice. They know that I changed my eating completely when I was diagnosed, which I'll go into later, and they wanted to know what I was doing and helping. So as I say, yeah, hopefully the video will help somebody, hopefully. I am going to try not to get upset. I am normally, if I talk to people about it, if anyone asks me anything, then you know, I'm happy to talk about it. If anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to talk about it. It really doesn't bother me. But sometimes when I go through some of this stuff that I've got here, it does upset me a little bit, and I get a little bit, because part of me is almost like it happened to somebody else. It was a completely different life, but then other times it hits me and I think, shit, that was hard. That was really hard. So I am going to start at the beginning and go through my story, what I did, if I think it helped or not. And that's it, really. And also, as I say, to help people that might be going through the same thing, to give them, hopefully, that little bit of boost. You can do this. You can do it. Even if you think you can't, you can. Okay? So, start right at the beginning. And I did the video now because May was the month that I was diagnosed. That's when it all happened. It's when it all started 2 years ago for me. First of all was, I did start a little diary and wrote it down, but once I started chemo, it didn't happen. And I regret that, because in a way, you know, I don't know. So it started on Monday the 1st of May 2017. I was sitting up in bed and I just happened to just move my hand across my chest very, very lightly when I felt something hard. And then when I felt it, I thought, that's not good. So obviously a whole night of worry. Next morning, I phoned the doctor. Well, first of all, actually, I text my boss at work to say I'm not going to be in today because I'm going straight to the breast clinic. Because I had actually been to the breast clinic a couple of months before because I had pain in the other breast. But because of my age, they didn't do a mammogram. Now, I do think to myself, if they'd done a mammogram, because they would have done both, would they have found the lump earlier? I don't know. Who knows? But because of my age, they didn't do it. They just put it down to, I don't know, just a little bit of pain or whatever, sent me on my way. So I knew where the breast clinic was. I'd been there before, so I thought I'm just going to go straight there. Unfortunately, you have to make an appointment. You have to be referred from your doctor. So I phoned the doctor. And again, they were like, well, should we just see your next cycle and see if it goes? I was like, no. this isn't right. I know this isn't right, and I need to see a doctor. So I did see a doctor that day. They could feel a lump, which I don't know how you couldn't. Anyway, it was quite big and hard. And they referred me straight to Empress Unit, which is the breast care clinic at Darent Valley Hospital. I then got a sit and wait for an appointment. I had an appointment on Monday the 8th of May, and I walked into the Empress Unit, and I found that quite hard, because of the posters, the pictures, the people. I was like, I shouldn't be here. This isn't me. This hasn't happened to me. I shouldn't be here. So anyway, so they ask you a few questions: family history, do you smoke, do you drink, have you got children? They again feel it. Yes, we can feel the lump. And they carried out a mammogram, ultrasound and a biopsy there and then. They do a mammogram on both breasts and an ultrasound and then a biopsy. So they numb the area, they go in and they take a little bit of the lump and they send it away. So I had that done there and then. Off you go, back in 2 weeks. I did have to go back again because they said on the one that I wasn't there for, my left one, that they weren't quite sure of it, so they wanted to do another mammogram, so they did that. So that's what it did. Then I received a phone call on Friday the 19th of May asking me to come in on the Monday. They don't give anything away. I tried to say, oh, how long is it going to be? Trying to judge. If they say, oh, only a couple of minutes, I think, okay, that's all right. If they go, oh, you know, might be here a half hour, I think, that's not good. But they don't tell it. They can't tell you anything. They just make the appointments. So Monday the 22nd of May, 2017, that is the day my life changed. God, I'm getting quite upset now. I thought I'd be all right doing this, but I went on my own. I wouldn't recommend it, but sort of in the back of my head I was like, I'm all right, I don't need anyone, I'm not someone that asks for help. So I was like, you know, that's all right, they're just going to go and tell me, no, it's fine, off you go. Why do I need someone to come with me for that? Well, of course, they didn't tell me that. As we were walking into the room, the lady said, oh, have you not got anybody with you? And as soon as she said that, I knew. So you sit down, and that's when they say cancer cells were found. And in my little diary here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this without crying, but I'll try. The first thing that went through my head was, I don't want to die. That's it. What about my children? My children need me. They don't deserve this. And that was what crossed my mind. I was like, they don't deserve this. This isn't fair. So then you go through all the procedures. They tell you what's going to happen. They said that I needed another biopsy because they needed more tissue to test. And also, oh, sorry, going to need to have an MRI, which scared the shit out of me, if I'm honest, because I don't like small spaces, and the thought of that just absolutely petrified me. Also needed a CT scan and also like a bone scan. So telling my family obviously was tough. I actually think I told Ashley first, because he rang me in the morning and said, what are you doing today? And I can't lie to him, so I was like, I'm going to hospital. Well, what are you going to hospital for? So I explained, and he's like, why didn't you tell me? Because I don't want to worry anyone. I don't need to worry someone before we know anything. So of course he phoned me straight away. So obviously I told him, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. What do I do? How do I say it? So I just drove to my mum and dad's. My dad was rehearsing. My mum was in her craft room, and I just walked in and she went, "You all right?" And I just burst into tears and told her, which obviously then she cried as well. And then when I told Craig as well. We didn't tell the girls until I had an action plan. I didn't want to, because I knew they'd ask questions and I didn't know, I didn't have any answers. So we didn't tell them. But, okay, on to a little bit more of a positive thing now. So obviously when I got home, I Googled it. That's what you do, isn't it? You Google it. So I Googled it and I was looking for ways to fight it. I wanted to do something. I needed to do something. I couldn't just sit back and wait. I needed to be in control. I needed that. I needed something. So I read a lot of things about people reversing cancer, getting rid of cancer completely just by diet. So I thought, do you know what? I've got to give this a go. If it doesn't work, I've got nothing to lose. It's healthy eating. It's not going to do anything worse, is it? So from that point, literally that day, then and there, I cut out refined sugar. I cut out meat. I cut out dairy. And it isn't just about cutting out them things. It's about eating certain foods. It's about having an alkaline diet, balancing things out. I'm not an expert. I'm not a nutritionist. I just know what I read through books and online. And I know some people are like, nah, it's rubbish. Well, that's up to you. But that's what I needed to do. I had to do that. I felt like I needed to do something. I couldn't just sit and do nothing. So that's what I did. I set myself, I did a little daily medicine sheet. I don't know if that's going to show backwards. But basically everything that they said fights cancer, I put it on here. And I made sure that I had it every day. It was like, this was my medicine. So green tea, turmeric, vitamin C tablet, Brazil nuts, chia seed, flaxseed, water, aloe vera, and at least 5 of the following of these fruit and veg. So beetroot, spinach, kale, broccoli, cucumber, carrot, tomato, strawberries, sweet potato and avocado. I had a disgusting green smoothie every single morning. It was vile. It made me heave. But do you know what? If you can down shots, you can down that. Literally hold your nose down it, it's done. And that's what I did. And I made myself eat so many fruit and veg as raw as possible. So try not to have cooked stuff. You know, you've got to be having that. So that's what I did from that day on. And I tell you what, considering I was the illest I've ever been, I had cancer, I've never felt so good. Never. I lost weight. I wasn't tired, and I'm always tired. I felt amazing. My skin was fantastic. My hair was amazing. And I thought, do you know what? Even if this isn't doing anything for the cancer, this is preparing my body for the chemotherapy that I'm going to have to go through. This is making me as strong as I can for all that crap. And that's what I did. So I was sitting in the garden and Chloe was looking for 4-leaf clovers, and I said, do you know what, I've never found a 4-leaf clover in my whole life. And I was on the phone, I can't remember who I was on the phone to, it might have been my friend or I don't know, and I was just randomly picking grass, and I just happened to look down and I had a 4-leaf clover. Now if you know me, you know how superstitious I am. I am extremely superstitious, and that was it. I knew I was going to be alright. I just knew it. From that 4-leaf clover, I knew I was going to be, it's going to be alright. So I have pressed that and I've still got it. And yeah, I took huge comfort in that. So yeah. So when my MRI day came, I was so scared. But actually it wasn't too bad because the whole of you doesn't go into the machine. You're face down for a start, so you can't see all of that. And your head doesn't go in. But do you know what? I just kept my eyes shut. Shut my eyes, thought about something else. I knew how long it was. They played music and I was thinking, right, okay, each song is about 2 to 3 minutes. That's so many songs. once I get to that many songs, I know it's finished. And that's what I did. That's how I got through it with my eyes shut. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to see the machine because it would make me panic. So actually it wasn't too bad. Then you have like a CT scan. You have to drink loads and loads of water, and then when you're in there, they flush this stuff through you that actually feels like you're wetting yourself. It's strange, really strange. And then the bone scan I had to go up to King's College for because our machine wasn't working. They put through this nuclear stuff. You're not allowed to meet up with anyone with children afterwards or pregnant people. That's how bad this stuff is inside you. It goes through, you have to go off for a bit, so we're walking around the park in London, had some lunch, then I go back and have the scan. Results for them, the bone scan came back clear. It hadn't spread to my bones, it was just this one lump. My lump was showing 7 centimetres by 5 centimetres. That's big. How I didn't find it before, I do not know, but that was big. 26th of June, first chemo. I had to have a course of 6, so I have 3. The one I had was FEC-T, so the first 3 was FEC, the second 3 were T. Before you have chemotherapy, you have to go and have bloods taken. Every time you have chemotherapy, you have to have bloods taken. They need to check that your levels are okay, that you're fit and healthy enough to have it, because I tell you what, that chemotherapy is tough. It literally kills every cell like in your body. When people say, oh yeah, it makes you tired. Well, how tired can you actually be? You know, I'm always tired. You know, you just fight through it. This is another level, completely another level. I can't even explain to you what it feels like. It literally just wipes you out. So Ashley and my mum came with me for my first chemo, had no idea what to expect. Walking into a chemo ward, again, completely surreal feeling, and there's just these chairs all round and you sit there and you're there for a couple of hours. Mine were, some people are there all day, and they put in a drip and they feed it through. So one takes an hour, the next one is these 3 big red syringe things that the nurse literally sits and feeds through the tube into you. It feels quite cold. Other than that, you don't feel anything. And then the next one's another sort of hour, I think. And in between each one, they put in saline solution to flush it all through. So when I had that first one, we then went to Blue Water afterwards, went and had Joe the Juice, of course. And I was all right. I had to take the girls to football in the evening. So we went along, and I did say to Ashley, oh, I feel a bit funny. And then the next day, boom, hits you. Absolutely, like, I felt sick, I felt dizzy, I struggled to move. It affects your brain, you know, like it's like fuzzy, foggy in your brain. You can't think straight. One of the things I was most concerned about having chemotherapy was losing my hair. Now I know people, that's very vain, but that really, really bothered me. And people say, but it'll grow back, it's fine, you know, I know it grows back, but I've still got that period of time, you know, I can see it grows back. This is like a year and a half's growth now. But it just petrified me. I was so worried about that. And I think 2 weeks after my first chemo, my hair literally, I'd go like this and I'd have handfuls of hair just coming out. And it's devastating, absolutely devastating. So, and I'd started a football, my FA coaching course the week after I'd started chemo, but I was determined, I'm still doing this, I still want to do this course. So, you know, there were a few weeks there that were hard, and I participated in the drills we were doing, and the next day it would just wipe me out. I was like, I can't do anything. So I said to the girl, I said, I can't do this every week. She knew I was going through treatment. So, you know, sometimes I'd sit out because I was like, I just couldn't do it. After the first treatment, I go back to the doctor or consultant, I'm not really sure. And it had shrunk and softened after the first treatment. Whether any of that was to do with the food and the diet that I'd done before or just the chemo, I'll never know. I'd like to think it was the food as well, had shrunk it slightly before I even started chemo. That was the idea. But as I say, I'll never know. So I decided to go with a wig. And if you look at some of my old videos, you will see my hair's a little bit different because that's the wig that I had. And it was fantastic. A lot of people didn't realise it was a wig. And what I did is my sister-in-law was a hairdresser. So she shaved my head, but I didn't want to look. I literally had it shaved and then I put a bandana on and I went home like that. And you know what? I never, ever saw myself without any hair at all. I just didn't want to see it. When I did my makeup, I pulled the bandana back and I could see that there was no hair here, and it just made me look so old. And I know that's really vain to say, but I just didn't like it. It really upset me. Nobody in my house saw me like that at all. Never. I always had something on my head. I slept with a bandana on my head. I either had a hat, a bandana or a wig on. Nobody saw me without it at all. Because I didn't feel comfortable with that. So then my eyebrows started to thin out. My eyelashes obviously fell out as well. That was tough because I couldn't hide that at all. I did get my wig. I was very self-conscious when I first wore it. The time that I started this, my girls were in year 6, so they were going through all their leaver stuff. So I was up to school quite a lot, and I just felt, I don't know, I sort of withdrawed a bit because I don't know, I just didn't like it. I then had a PICC line put in. It was put into my inside of my arm. I don't think I've got I can't remember what side it was on. I don't think I've got a scar or anything, but it went in here so that it was there all the time. I think it was this arm actually. It's there all the time so that what they can do is when you have chemo, it just clips on and goes through. If they need to take blood, they can take blood. It saves having to keep having the cannula put in your hand. So I had that and it was there all the time. I just had a bandage over the top to protect it so it didn't get caught. It made life so much easier. And I had to have the nurse come through. They flush it through every 10 days to make sure it's nice and clean. So other chemo side effects, tired, so tired, sickness, horrible taste in your mouth, like horrible. I can't even explain, like nothing tasted nice. Even water was horrible. I couldn't even drink water. Can't concentrate. I tried to do work from home. I literally couldn't concentrate on the work. I just couldn't focus. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. And the way it worked for me, I had my treatments every 3 weeks. So I'd feel really, really crap for a week. Then I'd have 2 good weeks. So it'd be like almost trying to cram everything in them 2 weeks. Because I know that 1 week is just a wipeout. I can't go anywhere. I did go to places, but it was tough, so tough. I finished my chemo in October. I did end up having to stay in hospital for a couple of nights because you're at high risk of infection when you're having chemo. You're not supposed to go anywhere where there's lots of people, at risk of catching viruses. So at the time, Ashley was performing in the West End and I couldn't go and watch him. I couldn't take that risk of going to London on a train, sitting in a theatre with all them people, if it was going to make me like ill. So it's really, really dangerous. So I couldn't go and watch him. But there was one time when my temperature had risen, so I went into hospital, going to A&E. You tell them that you're having chemotherapy. They put you somewhere separate because you can't sit with everyone else, especially in A&E because they're all ill. So somewhere separate. Yeah, white blood cells were high, keeping in overnight. So I'd stay in 2 nights. In the end, they couldn't work out why it wasn't coming down, but they let me go home anyway, thankfully, because that was just the most boring thing in the world, sitting in there. I had my surgery beginning of November. So I just had a lumpectomy where they just removed the lump and some surrounding tissue. Now, because they'd found cancer cells in my lymph nodes when I had the biopsy at the beginning, they also had to remove my lymph nodes as well, which that was another thing I was just so upset about. When I got my results back, it showed that there was no cancer cells in my lymph nodes, which was great, but I was also thinking, oh, I didn't have to bloody have them removed, did I? But it meant it hadn't gone any further, so that was good. But they did find that there was a few abnormal cells right on the edge of the bit they'd taken, so they wanted to do another operation, so they did that. Again, when I had my operation, I was petrified because I'd never had an operation. I've never been put out. I didn't know what to expect. I was panicking that I wouldn't wake up. I was so frightened that I wouldn't wake up. I wrote a letter for my 3 children, which they've never seen because I'm here. They didn't have to see it. But I told Ashley the night before that I wrote the 3 of you a letter, told him where they were, so that if anything happened to me, they've got that. And that was tough, writing that. Obviously, I was crying lots with that. So then 3 weeks after my second lot of surgery, I was given the all clear. Just before Christmas, I think it was. Yeah, December the 14th, I was given the all clear. It had gone. They'd got rid of it all, which was amazing. I still had to do radiotherapy, so I was still prepared for that. I started that in January. That's every day, every weekday for 4 weeks, every single day. The drive, like a half-hour drive to where I had to go for it, and I'm only in there like a couple of minutes, but it's fascinating. They literally measure everything because it's pinpointed, this whatever the radiotherapy is, to that one specific area. So I've got like a little tattoo here, here and here, like just a dot. So they could line everything up to make sure it's exactly in the right place. Now, I dealt really well with radiotherapy, or my skin did. I didn't really have any problems. I just used coconut oil because the creams that they recommend had things in it that I didn't want to be putting on my body. So yeah, I'll go, actually, I forgot to mention that. When I was looking at my diet as well, I was looking at what else can cause cancer, and why more and more younger people are getting it. And I think it has to be down to lifestyle. Stress. People have more stress now. Food. People eat a lot of crap. And cleaning products, beauty products. I mean, I was in the beauty industry. I was sitting in them fumes all the time, putting stuff on my skin to put on other people's skin, and it probably wasn't always the best stuff in the world. So I didn't want to be, I changed all my skincare. If you've watched my videos before, you know I very strongly recommend Neal's Yard products. But yeah, I changed all of that. I try to use natural cleaning products. If not, I try and use Method, because it's a little bit better than the ones that are full-on crap. And yeah, just change all of that. Exercise, do more exercise, everything like that. People often ask me what they can do to help their friend or their relative. Just be there for them. I tell you, one things I'd say that would have helped me the most is if someone could have just come and cooked dinner, because I just couldn't do it. It was just tough. And I know it sounds really silly. I couldn't do it. Well, why couldn't you? Just get up and do it. But I just couldn't. It just didn't happen. So I'd say, yeah, just help. Even just a little text, just thinking of you. It just makes such a difference. You don't have to be there all the time. I had some fantastic friends that came round that would bring me stuff and just bring me a book to read, or a magazine, or a nice flavoured drink, because when you've got that horrible taste in your mouth after chemo, water's horrible. So, you know, but a natural one, or, you know, a certain type of cereal bar, or whatever. That it made such a difference. And the mums at the school were amazing, all offering to take the girls to school. As I say, I'm not one to ask for help, so I won't go out and say, can you take the girls to school? I'll just do it. But they all clubbed together and got me this big cancer care package, which was amazing. The stuff in there was fantastic. And that probably meant more to me than they will ever know. It made such a difference. Just knowing that there's people there thinking of you and there for you if you need them, that makes a difference. So that's my cancer story. Now I know this has gone on a little bit longer than what I wanted, and I've probably cut out quite a bit, but if anyone has any questions or wants to know anything, then please just ask. I'm happy to talk about it. Just a couple of books I'd recommend as well. These Deliciously Ella ones were a lifesaver when I was eating, you know, and I changed my diet. Unfortunately, my diet's slipped back a bit. It's not very good again, and you know, doing this actually has boosted me. I'm like, right, I need to get back on this. These Deliciously Ella books, and also the How Not to Die cookbook. And also the How Not to Die book, highly recommend it. Give it a read, please. Yeah, so that's my cancer story. That was my journey. It hasn't changed. It has changed me. It's changed the way I think about life. And you know, don't just sit about and oh yeah, I want to do that. Just go out and do it. Just find a way to do what you want to do. It's your life. Don't regret anything. Just do it. So it has changed me, but for the better, I think. If you are going through this shithole of a journey, you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. Yeah, you will get through it and you'll be fine, okay? It is hard, I'm not going to lie. It's one of the hardest things I've had to do in my whole life, but you can do it. You can. I do recommend a video that when people ask me about the diet that I changed to and stuff, I'll link her channel down below. She was diagnosed with cancer, I think, when she was like 18. Again, she changed her diet completely, and they looked into stuff a lot. So I'll link that down below as well, because it's a fantastic video. And hopefully next video will be more happy. That's what we're planning. But I just wanted to do this. As I say, I'm denied for ages. I wanted to get it out there. And hopefully I can help someone. I hope. But I'll see you all next time. Bye.